Thank you for joining us on the news. I'm Ruth Aguwele. My sign language interpreter is Anna Olainka. Let's start with the headlines. Nigeria and Vietnam have agreed to deepen economic cooperation with a focus on trade, investment and textile. Nigeria prepares to host global ministerial conference in its commitment to advancing efforts against antimicrobial resistance. And Germany seeks closer defense manufacturing cooperation with the United States as Berlin moves to strengthen Europe's military capabilities ahead of NATO summit. Nigeria and Vietnam have agreed to deepen economic cooperation with a focus on trade, investment and the textile industry. This was when the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Shola Enikonolaye, met with the Vietnam's Deputy Foreign Minister, Le An Tuan, in Abuja. A statement from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs says Vietnam called for a faster conclusion of agreements on investment protection and double taxation to boost investor confidence. Minister of State for Foreign Affairs expresses Nigeria's readiness to partner for industrial cooperation and job creation through technology transfer and skills development. Ambassador Enikonolaye further notes that Vietnam has shown global success in the textile and garment industry. Both sides also agreed to hold the first political consultation session by 2027 in Vietnam and points that private sector involvement is key. In conclusion, the minister points out that the partnership aligns with its policy of strategic autonomy to expand trade beyond traditional partners. President Bola Tinubu is urging on United Nations member states to include the UN Charter's preamble in their national constitutions. Speaking through Nigeria's permanent representative to the UN, Ambassador Jimoh Ibrahim, the president said the move would serve as a constant reminder of every nation's commitment to peace, human rights, justice, and international cooperation. Ambassador Ibrahim told delegates on the proposal at an informal UN General Assembly meeting in New York ahead of President Tinubu's participation in September. He said that the idea received applause from delegates and aligns with the views of permanent members of the UN Security Council. The UN Charter Preamble pledges to save future generations from war and promote justice and peaceful coexistence among nations. As part of activities to improve access to water, sanitation, hygiene and quality learning for African children, the African Scholars Care Initiative has brought together stakeholders in Abuja to chart pathways for a healthier and brighter future for children. Adaobi Obiachina reports.
Adebayo and Grace Ame Iyefu are students of government secondary schools, Abuja. Like many African children, they navigate challenges that should have been left in the books rather than school compounds. Inadequate access to potable water, sanitation, and proper hygiene facilities within their learning environments.
We like the government to just add a few toilets so it can better sanitation in our school.
Like my school now, we don't have enough water, so we want the government to get water for us.
It is for this reason that the African Scholars Care Initiative organized the Let of Future program, bringing together stakeholders from various sectors to explore ways to advancing the cause of the African child, particularly in areas of energy, hygiene and education.
If we have our basic education electrified, we would have better graduates, we would have more productive youth.
But if you understand that multidimensional poverty has to do with deprivations and not money poverty, then you understand where the numbers are coming from.
A quiz competition involving students and teachers added color and excitement to the event. Winners of the various competitions were presented with awards and prizes. The African Scholars Care Initiative is a non-governmental organization dedicated to expanding access to education, skills, development and humanitarian support for disadvantaged children across Africa, ensuring that no child is left to chase the future in the dark. Adobe Obiechina, NTA News.
Nigerian professor Namzat Surajuddin Bakinde will be returning to the Gambia to consolidate on her reforms as the Vice-Chancellor of the University of Science, Engineering and Technology, Banjul, even after the completion of her 2-year service under the Nigerian Technical Aid Corps scheme. She was among the 25 volunteers from the Gambia and Sierra Leone who were debriefed in Abuja. Let's hear more from Kelvin Ahunwahe.
Professor Surajuddin Bakinde is originally from the University of Ilorin. She was among the 11 volunteers sent to the Gambia in 2024. While in the Gambia, she was appointed Vice-Chancellor of the University of Science, Engineering and Technology in Banjul. Along with 7 other Nigerian academics, she changed the fortunes of the university, prompting the authorities in the Gambia to seek extension of her service. This exemplary achievement excites the Director General of ENTA, Dr. Buba Yusuf Yakub, who described the badge of returnees as worthy ambassadors of Nigeria's soft power diplomacy, an integral component of President Bola Tinubu's 4D foreign policy objectives.
She is going to continue as the Vice-Chancellor of the University of Technology, Gambia, but this time signing an independent contract with the Gambian government, who will take care of all her emoluments. So that is a great achievement for Nigeria, and we want to still thank Mr. President and the people of Nigeria for this great achievement.
After we are done with our service, it's like the management of USET is no more on grant. But I had the opportunity of being the only person that will be recalled back, to go back there, because the Minister of Higher Education in the Gambia said they want consolidation of what my team and myself started at the Gambia.
14 who served in Sierra Leone were also received back home with a charge on them to apply the experiences gained in their respective parent institutions in Nigeria. In Abuja, Kelvin Ahunwahe, NTA News.
The ECOWAS Drug Use Report 2025 has revealed an increasing trend in drug abuse in the sub-region, with marijuana most lethal and emerging ones wreaking havoc among young people. The report, being validated in Abuja, also highlighted significant misuse of some prescription drugs like tramadol, used medically as a painkiller. Again, Kelvin Ahunwahe reports.
Across West Africa, governments are battling intense drug abuse among the young population. While individual country efforts are scaling, ECOWAS is seeking a coordinated joint action. That proposal is expected to be aided by the findings of the West African Epidemiology Network on Drug Use, WENDO report, which is being reviewed and will be launched in Dakar, Senegal, later this year. The review workshop is also being used to train WENDO focal persons in ECOWAS member states on application of new tools for data collection to make their work easier.
By the time you were able to detect some of the concealment methods, new concealment methods, so it's a very complex situation. That makes it look as if people are not doing enough. But it's not like that. It's because of the changing nature, the dynamic nature, the complex, the complicated nature of the drug issues. It has so many aspects all working together. The abuse issue, the addiction issue, the money aspect of it. Some people just want money. So they are using the addiction of others to get money. So if they are able to get more people addicted to drugs, then it means that they will be buying their drugs without even looking back, because they needed to support their addiction. So it's a very complex issue.
Recommendations from the report are to be made available to drug law enforcement agencies in member states for implementation. In Abuja, Kelvin Ahunwahe, NTA News.
In other news, Germany is seeking closer defense manufacturing cooperation with the United States as Berlin moves to strengthen Europe's military capabilities ahead of the upcoming NATO summit amid growing security concerns. Adelbi Obechina reports.
German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius says Berlin is interested in producing selected American-designed weapons and components locally. To address limited U.S. production capacity and rising global demand for systems such as patriotic missiles and interceptors. The proposal comes as European allies work to expand domestic defense industries while maintaining strategic partnership with Washington. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte welcomed Germany's industry capacity and stressed the need for stronger military readiness.
Germany is an industrial powerhouse with major defense companies and world-class research institutions. NATO's message to industry across the alliance is clear. Be ready, speed up, work together, open new production lines, expand supply chains, and deliver quickly what we need to our security.
With geopolitical tensions persisting and NATO alliance boosting defense investments, Germany hopes expanded domestic production of critical military equipment will strengthen European security and alliance preparedness in the years ahead. Adobe Obechina, NTA News.
Jigawa State is seeking to attract more investments and strengthen economic partnerships as Vice President Kashim Shettima declares open the 2 days Jigawa Economic and Investment Summit in Dutse. The gathering aimed at showcasing the state's business opportunities and development potentials. Let's see that.
Vice President Kashim Shettima has declared open the Jigawa Economic and Investment Summit at the Government House in Dutse with a call for increased collaboration between governments and investors to unlock new opportunities for economic growth. The summit, which brought together national and international investors, business leaders, and key stakeholders, is expected to explore investment prospects across strategic sectors of Jigawa State, with memoranda of understanding anticipated between the state government and some business organizations. Governor Umar Namadi, while presenting the investment opportunities available in the state, urged investors to take advantage of Jigawa's relative peace, the migratory free trade zone, available resources, and the friendly disposition of its people, describing the summit as a major step towards attracting sustainable investments and creating jobs.
From power to agriculture, from solid minerals to the digital economy, we have replaced gatekeeping with partnership, and we have redirected the savings from hard reform toward the things that build a nation, into infrastructure, into human capital, and into support for our most vulnerable citizens, so that both, when it comes, is felt in the household and not only in the headline.
I commend the government of Nigeria under the New Hope agenda of Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCR for its focus on economic reforms, food security, energy transition, enterprise development, as well as job creation.
The Vice President and Governor Umar Namadi, among other stakeholders, expressed optimism that the summit will strengthen public-private partnerships, promote industrial developments, and open a new chapter in Jigawa State's economic transformation agenda. In Dutse, Muhammad Musa Askira, NTA News.
The federal government has taken significant steps towards repositioning Nigeria among the world's largest cocoa producers. This follows President Bola Tinubu's approval for the production and distribution of improved cocoa seedlings to key producing states. Musa Baba Ali reports that the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security flagged off the distribution of the seedlings in Ibadan, Oyo State.
Most cocoa trees in commercial plantations across Nigeria's producing states are over 50 years old. As they age, their productivity declines significantly, which has negatively affected the nation's overall cocoa output for both local and international markets. To address this challenge, the Cocoa Research Institute of Nigeria in Ibadan, Oyo State, has developed improved varieties of cocoa seedlings. 1 million of these seedlings will be distributed across all cocoa producing states. Minister of Agriculture and Food Security Abubakar Kyari stated that the new varieties will replace the aging trees, boost yields, and provide farmers with better planting material. He emphasized that the initiative goes far beyond just distributing seedlings. Its broader purpose is to restore the strength of Nigeria's cocoa industry, improve the livelihoods of farmers, and reposition Nigeria as a leading player in the global cocoa economy. The federal government's goal is to build a modern, resilient, and globally competitive cocoa industry that rewards the farmers who grow the crop and strengthens the nation economy. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Residents of Lagos and other coastal states have been urged to stay alert for possible flash floods as the Nigerian Meteorological Agency NIMET forecasts widespread and intense rainfall across south. In its weather outlook, NIMET warned that continuous heavy downpours could trigger flash floods, especially in low-lying and coastal communities. The agency predicts thunderstorms with heavy rainfall across parts of Ondo, Ogun, Edo, Lagos, Rivers, Delta, Bayelsa, Cross River and Akwa Ibom states. NIMET is advising everyone in the affected areas to monitor weather updates closely. Motorists should drive with extreme caution, they say, during rainfall and periods of low visibility. Welcome back. The Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Ali Pate, says Nigeria is committed to advancing global efforts against antimicrobial resistance through stronger collaboration, prevention, innovation and domestic investment in health systems. The minister stated this during a courtesy visit by Switzerland's Minister of Health in Abuja. Osman Zubairu reports.
This event marks the first time the conference will be held on the African continent, highlighting Nigeria's leadership in addressing antimicrobial resistance. Professor Ali Pate noted that Nigeria's approach goes beyond healthcare by adopting a One Health strategy that brings together the health, agriculture, livestock, environment, and water sector to tackle the growing threat of antimicrobial resistance. He explains that Nigeria's role in the global antimicrobial resistance process is helping to amplify the voices of low and middle-income countries by promoting better access to quality antimicrobials, stronger primary healthcare, vaccination, infection prevention, and local production of medicine.
We work together as One Health because what happens in animal health arena links to human health. What happens in the plant health and the environment links to human health. So how do you bring that perspective so that it's not purely health issue? Because there's more antimicrobial used in animal health than in animal production than in human health.
Therefore, support ambitions, commitment in multilateral forums and promote coordinated approaches across countries and regions.
The conference, scheduled for December 2026 in Abuja, would bring together ministers and global health stakeholders to review progress, strengthen commitment, and develop practical solutions to combat antimicrobial resistance before Nigeria hands over the presidency to Brazil, leaving a lasting legacy for the country's health system and the African continent. Usman Zubairu, NTA News.
The federal government has called for stronger actions from stakeholders to strengthen climate-resilient water, sanitation and hygiene services for Nigeria to achieve sustainable development in the country. Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Professor Joseph Utsev, stated this at the closing of third annual National Climate Change and WASH Conference held in Abuja. Again, Osman Zubairu will tell us more.
Climate change remains the most profound challenge facing humanity at this moment. Efforts to confront these escalating crises is the reason these stakeholders are here.
These realities require us to rethink planning, strengthen infrastructure, improve financing, and adopt innovative approaches.
The third annual conference convened by the Federal Minister of Water Resources was to review 2025 WASH communique and also ensure this year water, sanitation and hygiene documents and facilities take into cognizance climate resilience and adaptation. It was resolved that emphasis should be given to improve integrated water resources management to safeguard water availability under changing climate conditions, as well as expanding climate-smart sanitation solutions to protect public health. Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Professor Joseph Usep, called on states to strengthen climate-resilient water infrastructure that can withstand extreme weather to ensure continued service delivery.
Today's conference is not only a conversation platform, but a platform where we bring in policies that are bankable, that are implementable. That is what our good messages are.
The conference with the theme Water, Sanitation and Hygiene at the Front Line of Climate Action. Participants are expected to take part of the resolution adopted to their various states, while a national roadmap for washed climate is underway. Usman Zubel, NTA News.
Ekiti State Governor Abiodun Oyebanji has attributed his victory in the recently concluded governorship election to the popularity of President Bola Tinubu in the state and the entire country. The just re-elected governor, in company of the Senate leader Okpeyemi Bamidele, were in the State House this Wednesday to present his certificate of return to the president. Abiodun Oyebanji won his re-election for the second term in all 16 local government areas of Ekiti State. The All Progressives Congress candidate polled 319,224 votes, followed at a distance by the People's Democratic Party candidate, who recorded 40,543 votes. The governor thanked the president for his leadership and support leading to the success in the election.
I represent him in Ekiti State, and what has happened as a result of the election is just a vote of confidence in his leadership and an expression of appreciation by Ekiti people to Mr. President. So I came to present this certificate of return to him and to express the gratitude and appreciation of Ekiti people to Mr. President. So this is a foretail of what to expect in January.
You won a record of being the first person to be re-elected in that state. Yeah. What do you think really worked for you?
Well, two things. I don't know if you will believe in grace of God. That's number one. Two, support of the president. Those are the two factors responsible for this. Okay. And we set ourselves a target that we win in all these 16 local government we did and in all the wards in the state.
Not related to your style of governance?
Well, the style is a product of Mr. President's leadership. It's all about him and God.
The Nigerian case management system, I'm talking judiciary now, the Supreme Court of Nigeria is fully on stream. In addition to the digital case management system, the Apex Court equally introduces mandatory electronic filing practice directions. Dele Atumbi of our judiciary desk reports.
The introduction of the Nigerian case management system at the Supreme Court for the stakeholders in the justice sector is a landmark reform aimed at modernizing judicial administration, improving efficiency, and strengthening the integrity of court records. The initiative marks a major step towards building a fully digitized and technology-driven Supreme Court. Stakeholders say the reform aligns Nigeria's Apex Court with global standards of judicial administration, noting that modern justice delivery requires institutions that are efficient, transparent, accountable, and accessible. The stakeholders in the justice sector strongly hold that the judiciary in Nigeria cannot afford to remain on the sidelines of this global transformation. The system is designed to support the entire life cycle of appeals before the Supreme Court by reducing reliance on manual processes and paper-based record management. The development will improve case tracking, document management, record retrieval, and overall workflow within the court registry. The digital platform will create a secured electronic repository and comprehensive audit trail for court documents, thereby reducing opportunities for unauthorized alterations, loss or manipulation of court records. The implementation of the system will take place in phases to ensure a smooth transition. The first phase focuses on the mandatory uploading of electronic copies of processes and records in pending appeals. The exercise will initially cover appeals scheduled for hearing between September and December 2026, with counsel required to upload all relevant documents within timelines stipulated by the new practice directions.
It reflects our determination not merely to keep the pace with global developments, but to ensure that the Supreme Court continues to discharge its constitutional responsibilities efficiently, transparency, and in a manner that responds to the reality of the digital age.
The Supreme Court must be seen to take the lead and thus unify it. Because we must make life easier not only for the court users, but for the students.
The NCMS is designed to enable cases move seamlessly from the trial high courts, National Industrial Court, and the Sharia and customary courts of appeal to the Court of Appeal and onwards to the Supreme Court.
The implementation will subsequently expand on a quarterly basis until all pending appeals before the Supreme Court are captured on the platform. In Abuja, Dele Atumbi, NTA.
Operatives of the Department of State Services have arrested former Minister of Science and Technology Geoffrey Nnaji at the Akanu Ibiam International Airport in Enugu. A statement by the DSS says Nnaji was arrested on this morning while preparing to board a private jet to Abuja. The operation was carried out at the request of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, which is investigating petitions over the management of the ministry during his tenure. The ICPC had invited the former minister several times over the allegations. Following his reported failure to honor the invitations, the commission enlisted the DSS to effect his arrest. Nnaji was subsequently handed over to the ICPC for interrogation and further investigation in what authorities describe as part of ongoing efforts to strengthen accountability and tackle corruption. And that's where we end the news. Thank you very much for being part of it. I'm Ruth Aguwele. My sign language interpreter is Anna Olainka.